Hello, my name is Elizabeth Manns, and I'd like to welcome you to the April 4th Coalition Show. This is, I believe, the October 27th, 2025 edition of the show. I was out of town all weekend, so I'm a little off kilter today. The April 4th Coalition's mission statement is, we are for workers' rights and collective bargaining rights and are against tax breaks for the corporations who ship our jobs overseas. We support all the articles of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, but as is our custom, we put the emphasis on Article 23 at the start of the show. Dick, one and two.
Number one, everyone has the right to work, to free choice of employment, to just and favorable conditions of work, and protection against unemployment. Number two, everyone without any discrimination has the right to equal pay for equal work.
Number three, everyone who works has the right to just and favorable remuneration, which is any form of compensation that a person is given for doing the work, and ensuring for himself or herself and his or her family an existence worthy of human dignity, and is supplemented by, if necessary, by other means of social protection. And number four.
Number four is everyone has the right to form and join trade unions for the protection of his or her interests.
And as is our custom, we'd like to thank the fabulous staff here at Northern Berkshire Community Television Corps for helping us produce the show. So thank you to Matthew Tucker, Nicole Brown, and Stephen Pergoon, and to the program director of WMNB for airing the audio portions of our shows on Friday at 6 p.m. And Dick, it looks like we're continuing with the theme of photojournalism today.
Yes, we're lucky to have Holly Zabrinsky back again with us after last week's show. And she came up with the idea that we invite this North Adams celebrity, Nick Mantello, to join us. And thank you, Nick, for joining us. You know, longtime city employee, now retired, but volunteers for everything in the community, and was, got a little bit of recognition being the Grand Marshal of the last Fall Foliage Parade.
Yeah, that was a lot of bit of recognition.
Quite a bit.
Now, what did your granddaughter, it was in the paper that, you said to your granddaughter something about, I must be famous or,
I think I was bringing her home from school. And, she knows I'm a jokester and always comes up with these lines. And somebody tooted it and I waved back. And she said, "Who's that?" I go, "Oh, just a friend." I go, "I'm pretty famous around here." And of course, she's quick. She looked at me, she goes, "No, you're not. You're just well known." She straightened it out.
Well, you are well known.
She grounded you, that's all.
It's funny how our kids and grandkids can do that.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
my kids.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what we wanted to do, if we're staying on the theme with photojournalism, we have a 6 to 7 minute little video to give us another reintroduction about the field of photojournalism. And I found this on YouTube, and I shared it, and Nick thought it was a good thing. So let's take a look at it to give us a little background on photojournalism.
My name's Ed Keating. I'm a photographer. I live in New York City, and I've been photographing since about the age of 25. I think I couldn't have been taking pictures for even a year, a few months, and I went to this camera store in New York. It's called Ken Hansen. He was a legendary camera dealer in New York. He did business for many, many years. And I went by his shop one Saturday morning, and I saw this array of Leicas up on the top shelf behind, the glass and on the glass shelves. And I asked him, I said, "What's that?" And he goes, "You're not ready." And that was the wrong thing to say to me. So he handed it down to me, and handed one down to me, and I held it in my hand, and it was just, I was just dumbstruck. was such a beautiful object, and you knew it was great. You didn't have to by touch, the weight and the smoothness, the fluidity of it all. This is not a camera. This is like this is an instrument. This is a scientific instrument, which it really is. I mean, and they do make scientific instruments, microscopes, and no, but so I know, and it was just like total, love at first sight. You have to be a little bit, if you're a photojournalist, you have to be good at, I mean, the camera is like, and taking the picture is that's just the final act. But usually at the end of, a very, very long sequence of events is when you can, when you're finally have that opportunity to trip the shutter. But if you're on the other side of the door, I'd rather be the world's worst photographer, but be on the inside of the door than like the world's best photographer on the outside. You have to have access. And so I think my sort of mischievous streak, liking to sneak into places, liking to be in places where I'm not really not supposed to be, all that kind of stuff that I was a real specialist in as a kid, proved to be enormously useful as an adult, as a photographer, getting up front, being able to get into buildings and sneak into places you don't belong. I mean, I used to sneak into the New Canaan movie theater where I grew up when I was 6, 7 years old. And I could pocket the admission money, for candy. It wasn't that much different than sneaking into, Ground Zero, after 9/11. Just knowing how to, knowing how to get in. And that was a skill I had. Oh, as I snuck into Ground Zero dressed as a construction worker. I had gone down, it was the second day, it was the 12th. I couldn't get in on the 11th. I went down on the 12th, and I was able, so I had my, my jeans, my work boots. I always had a hard hat in the trunk anyway. And so, I went in as, and I waited, it took hours, but finally there were a bunch of guys coming back from dinner, and they were all coming in together, and they were all sort of waving their passes, and the woman the woman security person, and she's tired, and everyone just sort of waits. So I just kind of waved my pass that I didn't have, and okay, baby, you can go in, you're good, so we just all filed in together. Yeah. And the thing is, but I do want to clarify, I was, there's all kinds of costumes and all kinds of ways that we do, all kinds of things that we do and ways that we present ourselves to get access. But I can go in as a construction worker when nobody's asking me. If someone asks, are you a member of the press? Of course. I mean, I can't deny that. But the old thing is, if nobody asks, then don't ask, don't tell. I'm not going to tell you I'm with the media. If you ask me, I'll say yeah, but you don't misrepresent yourself overtly. I mean, and you can't put on like a police uniform. You can't break the law in getting photographs, but you can be and you can't flat out lie about who you are. We talked about this. I mean, you have the criminal code, and you don't want to break any criminal laws. And you have the journalistic code, and you don't want to ethical code, and you don't want to break any. You have to adhere to your journalistic ethics completely. I was probably more adherent to the journalistic code than I was the criminal code sometimes. I mean, trespassing. I mean, yeah, there's all kinds of crimes we would do. I got arrested at Ground Zero.
Oh, I hadn't heard that part of the
For
story.
trespassing. In January, yeah. I was charged. They wanted to know, I had a pass. I was using, some union guys' passes, and they wanted the police, you know, wanted. I mean, they were adamant. They wanted to know so badly how I got into that site and who gave me the pass, and of course, I couldn't give up. I couldn't. Would never give those guys up.
Very interesting. And so true, by the way.
So true, why is it true?
Where he talks about, just how Nick and I, we're here, we kind of feel uncomfortable in front of the lens, because we have always sort of slipped under the radar. You like to be the fly on the wall, you like to just be quiet and watch what's going on and sort of just let that happen. And so, even though we're always taking pictures and out in the public, it's kind of uncomfortable to have
The anonymity helps you?
We like
to
to
have the lens
almost
on you. Or the,
to be invisible. It's like to be there, but nobody really notices that you're there.
Right.
That's where you get the good photos, the impromptu and
Right, the candid ones that show all the emotion and stuff.
yeah.
the
And
human.
as he said, you can't break the law. One of the best things that ever happened to me was when Chief Morandi, the fire chief, asked me if I could take pictures of fires in the fire department. I almost said, "What? Do you want a kiss?" It was one of the biggest moments in my life, and then it just progressed from there. First he gave me a North Adams fire hat, and then they gave me lots. I didn't get paid or anything, but they gave me a lot of stuff so that when I did come to a scene, I was recognized, and it was a tough transition because all the old firefighters are like, "What's he doing here?" They were a little uneasy around me. And I know we don't have a lot of time, but
That's
my
okay.
first encounter with the uneasiness was I was at a fire accident, and one of the firemen didn't have his helmet on. And one thing I don't want to do is to get any firemen in trouble. So, don't post up a picture that someone's not doing quite what they should be. With the DFS and stuff like that. So I went over to him and I said, "Should you have your helmet on?" And right away, another firefighter heard that, and he's like, "What's it to him? He's not your boss." And so it kind of started a firestorm. And I'm like, the only reason I asked, I says, because I didn't want to get you in trouble. So anyways, it all smoothed out, and they realized I'm looking out for them. I've taken some great pictures that I didn't use because someone was handling something without their gloves or something, and so I'm looking out for them. I only want to post pictures that people will get an idea of what happened, what's going on, and without getting in trouble.
Because you have to build up that trust, right?
Exactly. And most of the old firefighters, I've been doing this for maybe 7 years. A lot of the older firefighters have retired, and so everybody knew coming on the department. I was already there, so they knew I was part of. And it's gotten better, easier. It's great. I don't want to say better because it can't get much better.
Right.
But you get into the swing of things.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like, I'm not a firefighter, but I'll be the first to admit I'm a wannabe.
It's definitely like a learned sort of, I think one thing that we, as photographers, we kind of have that endorphin high.
Oh.
The excitement, all that.
Oh
And
my
sometimes
God.
you can get really caught up in it. But it's so exciting to be the fly on the wall and the first one there and see things. And
The adrenaline. When you're driving to an accident or a fire, oh my God.
it's very exciting.
You're wound. And when I get home from a fire, of course I gotta, I'll do the photos, process them. I don't do much other than, bright and dark and color a little
Right,
bit.
because in that piece, we talk about the ethical commitment to it, where you don't want to really change that photo, or you
Right.
don't want to, especially, it's great that he can look out for the police and the firefighters, but when you're in journalism, to even kind of go up, you just want to someone you kind of want to be out of the way, because you don't want anyone to know, because then they'll say, "Hey, get this person out of here," but it is, it's an adrenaline high for sure.
And the police they're always looking out for me. The firemen are looking out. Watch your back, Nick, watch. When I pulled up to the fire on the trail there just recently, the car fire, right off the bat, Sergeant Kelly, "Nick, things are popping and banging up there. you know, be careful or stay down here. I go, that's why I got a telephoto. And, you know,
The really cool thing that he also has that he can be out of the way is he's not even mentioning his
I know.
his really cool Larry T drone that has the thermal and I really admire it because I'm not really good at video games. So I didn't get to that part of the photography or photojournalism. So I'm in a way just humbly jealous that he has this big piece of equipment that can
Go
bring
ahead.
him anywhere.
you want me? Yeah, I'll put it on the
Please, yeah.
table.
Sure, because that'll give the audience a sense of what she's talking about.
mean,
I've
it's
seen it,
quite-
I'm pretty sure I've seen it, but,
Well, I've been after Chief for a while, you know, to get a drone. I said,
Yeah.
you know, life-saving, if you save one life of a lost hiker or something like that, it's worth its weight in gold,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So
This is a new system. because
this is mine, but I don't have thermal. But after I started taking a few fire photos with it and stuff like that, Chief went out and bought one. He got a really good price on a very expensive drone that has thermal capabilities. And we've used it a lot. I was the only pilot for a while, and I kind of had to get my pilot's license because
yeah, one of us is gonna pick it up.
of liabilities and stuff like that. So you have to take that pilot's test, and it's not an easy test, and it's expensive.
Right.
So anyways, I did that. So I was the drone pilot. Then he went out and bought another drone similar to this one, a little bit bigger with the thermal capabilities.
So how do you take, I mean, I see the battery set here. How does it actually take pictures? Because,
well,
I see,
The camera's on the front.
yeah.
And this particular drone will do wide angle and telephoto, and I have an extra lens which is even more of a wide angle. And
Go ahead.
it's not very heavy.
No, it's not, it's very light.
The Chief bought another
Gotta
one.
get into the camera. There we go.
There it is.
There we go.
I
Okay.
mean, so I just really love
So
that.
I take it this is the front end with the camera that swivels?
It gives us another tool in the toolbox
Yeah.
to take pictures. And it's funny. I saw a meme on Facebook, and it's taking good pictures is knowing where to stand. And it's true, to get that angle. And it's the same thing, is knowing where to be with the
Right.
drone. And it gives you that extra
Angle.
angle.
Yeah, I just saw a beautiful photo taken by Ben Garver, who was a former photo editor at the Berkshire Eagle. And I really love, I was just talking about this morning, the way his eye, he draws you right to where he wants you to look. And he had this beautiful photo of him on his kayak, but up above Cheshire Lake, the causeway, and it was nothing but lily pads in just the corner of his kayak to point it. So, I mean, you can get
saw
such
that.
beautiful different angles and more angles and different ways to tell the story, to pack it into, the storytelling experience. It's really a wonderful skill that you were able to master.
Well, but the skill is from photography, knowing where to stand. And
Yeah.
you know,
It's the same
I know
skill,
when
it's
we
just
go to
in addition of
photos,
the hands.
you're always looking for the good vantage point, like in
Yeah.
the parade, get up on the marquee of the theater, up on a roof, and getting that different angle.
Yeah.
And boom, there it is. I could stand anywhere.
Now you get to stand here when we
It
used
must
to
have been
be.
torture being the Grand Marshal because there must have been all these pictures you wanted to take. You couldn't.
You know, that was a big surprise. When I called, to make sure I'm all set to do pictures, she says, well, we were going to ask you to hold off on pictures this year. And I'm like, oh no, what did I do? And
Like
she's
I
like,
will do this year, so we'll do it better. And then next year they won't have me.
So
That's
she's-
always our fear.
she
It's
said, we'd
who's
like you to
gonna-
be the Grand Marshal. And I laughed. I go, no, be serious. And she goes, no, we really would. Would you be interested? And so humbly, I agreed. And it was a very humbling experience.
Yeah.
But well deserved.
Yeah, because I mean, God, almost every day I see If you were working for a paper, I mean, you post at least 3 different things a day, and he's almost everywhere, and
You have followers on Facebook, or do you have an Instagram, or
Yeah,
what?
no, I just do Facebook. I don't know those other platforms, so I just avoid them, and I have enough to do. So I do have quite a few followers and a bunch of friends, and the news, the media, they follow also along. I just did a few pictures past few days. Channel 13 got, and I said, as long as you give me credit, I don't care.
Right.
And Channel 10 has Jeb Rowledge, who is their whatever.
what, meteorologist? Is
No,
that-
no, he's a
No, he's not here.
he's the like director of something, and he'll call me if something big is going on. They listen to a scanner over there, probably digital, and if something's going on, he calls me right up, sends me a text. Nick, what's going on? Can you get pictures?
That's great, because you're
That's
his
great.
contact, and that's,
Yep.
you know.
I'm the
so-
contact for 13 and 10, and I've done some stuff for Channel 6, and yeah, it's exciting.
And people around here love getting that information, you know,
That's-
on the cable, on their cable television stations, you know, so it makes them feel like they're part, you know, of the community, you know. So you're serving as a link to our community,
It's
to
fun.
the.
I
to-
love doing it. That's why I didn't feel deserving of getting that honor, because I'm doing what I love. And you know what? The key to it is not getting paid. I worked as
Interesting.
a transcript photographer for 10 years doing weekends. And when it's a job, you have to do it. You know, you're like, oh, I got to do this today, that today. And if you're just doing it for yourself, to have fun, to share, I don't feel like doing it today. I'll get it later. And in the meantime, you're taking the picture in your head. I know
Yeah,
Holly does the
sometimes,
same
like,
thing.
I'm driving and see something, and I'm like, oh man, I wish I had my
I'll
camera.
show up at a scene, and I already know what I want to get. You know, it's all put together in my head. Now I got to make it happen there, and that's how it works. You know.
Yeah, it's story building, like we were talking about last week. And, you know, it's just, you know, Ben Garver taught me, like I said last week, telling that story, it's not just about a photographer, Nick, it's about him, you know, with the controller, or, you know, all of the little pieces that if we didn't have words, the camera is there to tell the writer, you know, and the viewer.
It's really important, especially in this day and age where we have such political polarization, to actually have a witness so people can see for themselves
Yes.
what
Yes.
it, and show something that's real, not something that's manufactured.
Right.
You know, you have your integrity. You're not going to try to do something to misrepresent what's happening. You're trying to capture
Right.
what's there.
Yeah, you always have to be ethical.
It's-
And it's hard because we even have our own opinions about whatever is going on. And I myself do a lot of volunteer work. I like to be quiet and unbiased. I'll have my own opinions, but it's rarely that we will voice them very loudly.
Just like on my personal page, I don't touch politics. Very little religion. If it's a religious statement, it's just be kind, be good.
Right, because I think at the end of the day, I don't want to, you know, but we are a lover of all makes and who, you know, whatever. We just want to just be kind. And the other wonderful thing about photography is that in the midst of all of this chaos, there's photography. Community, gardening, and like, you know, it's also a break from all of the
She's
craziness too.
our farmer.
That's right. We haven't talked about the chickens yet.
Not
but-
yet, but I was just in Berkshires, and so maybe another week.
All right.
Right.
Well, in that video that we saw, they started it when he started talking about his first camera, or, you know, and did you have like one of those the first
Oh,
time
yeah.
you really knew that this is what you wanted to do?
Absolutely. I wanted a SLR. Right? Back then it was film. You know, it was expensive. You know, you had to buy the film, you had to get the film processed. And after a couple of years, I met Nick Noyes. He was my mentor. He was the transcript photographer. He was Randy Trayball's successor. And I learned so much from Nick. And back then it was black and white. And he taught me a lot about perspective, you know, up close, personal. And I worked under Joe Day. I worked under some really good people. Maggie Button, Dave Metcalf, who was the sports guy. So I got trained on how to take pictures. And after that, then the digital revolution came out. And yeah, I love it.
When you were a kid, did you have a camera? And
Not so much. I first got married, it was 1977, and that's when I got my first SLR. And then it just snowballed from there. Like a lot of people say, oh, Nick, you got a lot of expensive equipment. And I'm like, well, you know, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't gamble. I go, if you take a person who does all three of those, he could afford this stuff and have money left over.
Yeah.
You know, and
Right.
I don't buy new. I buy a lot on eBay, but you got to do your homework. Make sure that the guy's a reputable guy. You know, check his sales record and make contact with him. Talk to him. Make sure it's what you're looking for. And I paid probably half of what my stuff is worth. You know, if I was to buy it new. So
Plus, you like Canon.
I like
So-
Canon.
and I
You
like
too.
Canon.
Yeah.
And our equipment is expensive, but it's worth the investment because it lasts. My
Lasts.
God, I've been a photographer for 16 years, and a good chunk of those, like 10 years, I've had the same body, but you know that system
Yeah.
costs you, but it's your livelihood, you know.
Yeah, oh my God, we're running out of
How
time.
fast?
No,
do
you got
We
time.
could talk for
Well,
hours.
Thank you for having us.
well, no,
You got a minute, 23 seconds.
Yeah,
You're
we
rushing
can-
to close it.
it's okay. But no, is there like I know you have this camaraderie, but is there an association of photojournalists or is it just you just
No,
get
we
to
just
see
work.
people
Yeah,
at
we-
scenes and stuff like
Yeah.
that?
You know what I call, there are quite a few photographers on Facebook. And I'm sure you know, my son is one. Jeff, he was a karate instructor.
But I think it's just like that we're all sort of at the same place at the same time. And for years, we've sort of just been rubbing elbows and in the trenches together. I mean, we used to be in the the home plate behind the box. We'd be chit-chatting and working and 4 hours just being together.
Okay, so
refer
I
to
think
all
where
that.
he was going, is there a formal
I call them the
organization?
posse. The
So
photo
there's
posse.
no formal organization around here.
I'm sure there is, but we haven't. We're
We
not
haven't
cool
found it.
enough to know about it.
I don't know.
'Cause I think
Maybe
that's
people
where
are
he was
trying to
going.
join yours and you don't know it. Maybe.
I've been actually thinking of having a meetup once
would
a
be
month
great,
at the library or something.
Mm-hmm.
Call it the posse, and not to teach, but to just do what we're doing right here, shooting the breeze.
Yeah.
You know.
It always helps to not feel like you're alone in anything that you're doing.
Oh, absolutely.
So, anyway, now we can say poverty is the enemy. Thank you for watching the show.
And thank you for
And
coming.
thank you too for coming
I
and being
enjoyed
guests
it.
again.
For having
Thank
us.
you for inviting us. Yeah, absolutely.
Our pleasure.
Power to the people.
He's in charge.
Power to the people.
Power to the people.
Mistakes of the bosses we must pay for. From the cities and the farmlands to trenches full of mud. War's always been the bosses' way, sir. The Union forever defending our rights. Down with the black leg workers unite. With our brothers and our sisters in many far off lands, there is power